Have you guys ever seen something like someone get hit in the head with a line drive pitcher? That actually happened to me. I was a junior in high school. I took a line drive right to the side of my head over here. I spent 2 days in the intensive care unit. I had a moderate concussion. And so we're going to start watching this video here to show you. Mine wasn't this bad. This guy actually suffered a broken jaw concussion and he broke a rib somehow. And you can even hear, like, when it hit his head, how loud it was. And so, that's the video. And so this is Jack McKay. The quote, he's a former, he worked for Louisville Slugger. He helped design the aluminum bats. And the quote says, "This is the kind of technology you ought to be throwing at Bin Laden, not some baseball pitcher. We've over-engineered it. It's the worst thing I ever did. Aluminum bats and wood bats are not even in the same ballpark." And so he worked, as I said, for Louisville Slugger to help design the bats. So aluminum bats, they're obviously stronger because they're made out of aluminum. They're actually hollow on the inside, the core of the bat. They also have the center of mass when you swing it is closer to the handle, and that makes it easier to swing. So even if the bat is heavier than the wooden bat, it's still easier to swing because of physics. The center of mass is closer. And it also has the trampoline effect, and that is when the ball hits the aluminum bat, the bat actually bends in and not the ball. With the wooden bat, when the ball hits the wooden bat, the ball actually compresses to half its size, and then that takes some of the energy away from the ball to the wooden bat, and the ball doesn't go as far. But with the aluminum bat, the ball doesn't compress as much, which causes the ball to go farther. Wooden bats, as I said, they're usually cheaper because they're easier to make. They're solid on the floor. The center of mass is farther, so it is harder to swing. You can't swing it as fast. And according to Dr. David Russell, who works at Kettering University, if the center of mass is closer, you can obviously swing it harder, and the faster you can swing the ball, or the bat, makes for farther, higher batted ball speeds. And also with wooden bats, they have a smaller sweet spot, which technically all bats have the same sweet spot, which is the best, the ball can hit the most distance from the bat. But because the aluminum bats are harder, if you miss the sweet spot of the aluminum bat, it'll still go farther than with the wooden bat. And this is a statistic from the Crisco-Greenwald study, which actually is no longer, they actually changed the rules of aluminum bats in the NCAA, but it's still effective. It's showing, these are the wooden bats over here on the left, and on the right are metal bats, and the average speeds are clearly higher with those. And this is also just to show the center of mass for each bat. Actually, the aluminum bat is the heaviest of all of them, but because it has the shortest center of mass, it's the easiest to swing. And this is the Crisco-Greenwald study, as you can see, and it caused the NCAA to change the way the metal bats were used. And actually, all these bats, these statistics, the bats using them will no longer be allowed. But also, according to Bill Thurston, who is a Hall of Fame baseball coach at Amherst College, who just retired, that he did his own study, and pitchers need 0.375 seconds to react to a baseball hit at them. And 5% of balls hit off wooden bats were under that time. That's 60% of balls hit off aluminum bats were under 0.375 seconds. So even though the bats have gotten better, they're still very dangerous. And obviously, these can have repercussions if you were hit in the head or other places. This is Brandon Patch. He was a high schooler in Montana. He was 18 years old. It was 2003. He took a ball off his head, and he died like 4 hours later. His parents actually sued the bat company, and they actually won this last year in 2009. They got some money for the bats because they said they were too dangerous and posed too much of a risk to players. This is Stephen Domilewski, and according to Fox News, he was 12 years old in 2006. He took a line drive off his chest, and his heart actually stopped beating for 20 minutes, and they had to revive him. And because of that, he's now incapacitated. He has to use a wheelchair to get around. He relies on others. He's very dependent. But he's doing better. He survived. This is him with Alex Rodriguez, I think last year. And this is Gunnar Sandberg. This has actually happened in March of this year. He is from Marin County, California. He took a line drive off the head. He suffered a concussion. They actually had to remove part of his skull to stop his brain from swelling. Reportedly, he was doing better. He might be able to go home in a couple of weeks, but still, it's obviously a very serious injury from an aluminum bat. That's according to the Marin County Journal. And all of these incidents have caused recent bans around the country. The Marin County, California, which just decided to ban aluminum bats in their league for the rest of this year as of now, and it could go on to next year. That happened just a couple weeks ago in April. Because of the Stephen Domalewski incident with the chest, New York City banned aluminum bats in 2007. And North Dakota also banned aluminum bats in 2007. This is according to the Washington Post and the PressDemocrat.com. And there's also potential bans. They're fighting all the time to ban aluminum bats, but there's places like Pennsylvania, Illinois, Montana, Massachusetts. They're constantly fighting. The bat companies obviously don't want to allow that to happen. Some other benefits of the wooden bats is that they do increase the small ball style of play, which is like hit and run, stealing bases, taking the extra base, more traditional, as the purists like to call it. There's also the pros and even the minor leagues aluminum bats are banned, so some of the hardest things for the minor leaguers to do is to adjust from aluminum to wooden bats. So if you start using wooden bats at a younger age, it's obviously easier to make that transition. It also levels the playing field a little bit because the strength of the players doesn't matter quite as much. It still matters, but it cuts down the drastic effects of the aluminum bats. There's also, according to Baum Research Company, which creates some aluminum bats and other bats, there's a new wood composite technology that's available, and it's actually sturdier than the regular wooden bat, but it meets the NCAA requirements, and it can allow up to 2,000 hits per use, which one of the negative things about wooden bats is because it breaks so much, so you have to constantly keep buying them to, because they keep breaking. But with the wooden composite bat, it wouldn't break as much. You could use it for a lot longer, and it's only like $100, where aluminum bats can be up to like $300, but wood composite bats are much cheaper. So I hope this presentation here persuaded you guys to just think about the dangers of aluminum bats and the damages they can cause. I was lucky, obviously, but a lot of people weren't. So I hope you guys took something from this.